father of the atomic bomb, my legacy still impacts the 21st century. I am Robert Oppenheimer, and this is my story. I was born on April 22, 1904 in New York, into a fairly wealthy family. My father, Julius Oppenheimer, was a textile merchant, and my mother, Ella Friedman, was an artist passionate about painting. I grew up in an environment where culture and intellect were highly valued, which certainly fueled my curiosity from a very early age. Very early on, I showed a strong taste for learning. By the age of 6, I had already started learning Latin, and by 9, I was already interested in science and literature. My school years were marked by a fascination with mathematics and sciences, where I quickly excelled in prestigious private schools in New York. In 1921, at 17, I entered Harvard University. I completed my studies there in 3 years, earning my degree in chemistry in 1925. But my true interest lay elsewhere, in theoretical physics, a field that was then rapidly developing and would soon become the focus of my professional life. After Harvard, my journey into theoretical physics took me to Europe. In 1925, right after graduating, I went to Cambridge, England, to work at the Cavendish Laboratory under the direction of J.J. Thomson. This experience was challenging because experimental methods didn't quite suit my temperament as a theorist. In 1926, I decided to change my environment and move to Göttingen, Germany, which was then a major international center for theoretical physics. There I studied with Max Born, whose work on quantum mechanics deeply influenced my thinking. It was in Göttingen that I earned my PhD in physics in 1927 at just 23 years old. During my time in Europe, I also met several physicists who would become central figures in the field, such as Werner Heisenberg and Paul Dirac. These encounters and this education allowed me to quickly establish myself as a promising young scientist. Back in the United States in 1929, I began teaching at the University of California, Berkeley. It was the beginning of my academic career, and also the moment I committed myself to training a new generation of American physicists. That's how my formative years laid the foundation for everything I would go on to accomplish. Upon returning to the U.S. in 1929, I joined the University of California, Berkeley, as an associate professor of physics. It was an exciting time because theoretical physics in America was still in its infancy, and I had the ambition to play an important role in its development. Throughout the 1930s, I taught and led research that helped establish Berkeley as one of the world's leading centers for physics. I worked on various topics, such as quantum mechanics and nuclear physics, and attracted several brilliant students around me, talents who would contribute to the rapid expansion of physics in the United States. At the same time, I began to take a broader interest in the wider implications of physics, especially in the context of mounting international tensions. I was aware that my work could have military applications, even though at that time it was still hard to imagine the full extent. My academic career was also marked by a sometimes complex personality. I was demanding with my students, often mysterious, but deeply passionate about science and its potential. It was during this period that my reputation was built and that I began to be recognized as one of the most promising theoretical physicists in the country. In 1942, as World War II raged on, I was appointed scientific director of the Manhattan Project. This secret program aimed to develop a nuclear weapon before Nazi Germany could. The project quickly became a colossal scientific and logistical challenge. Leading an elite team of the best physicists, engineers, and technicians, I had to coordinate research that would turn theory into a devastating weapon. The main laboratory was established in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where I led efforts to design and build the first atomic bombs. The stakes were enormous. We had to invent and master completely new technologies while maintaining absolute secrecy. It was an intense period, marked by complex moral dilemmas. I knew what we were doing could change the face of the world, but in the context of war, I believed this race against time was justified. The work culminated in success in July 1945 with the first nuclear test, called Trinity. It was both a scientific victory and the beginning of a new and terrifying era. After the Trinity test in July 1945, the Manhattan Project entered a decisive new phase. The bomb we had created was to be used to end the war. In August 1945, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima, on August 6th and Nagasaki on August 9th. These events hastened Japan's surrender and marked the end of World War II. I remember feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. Victory was achieved, but I was deeply aware of the terrible human consequences and the radically transformed world we had created. In the months that followed, I began to think more critically about the implications of our work, especially the urgent need to control these new weapons. The world had never before faced such destructive power. These issues soon became central to my life as the Cold War began and international tensions rose. After the war, I realized that the nuclear power we had created must not fall into the wrong hands. I then advocated for the international control of atomic weapons, convinced that their use must be strictly limited to avoid a global catastrophe. This stance put me at odds with some political leaders, especially during the rise of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. Fear of communism was at its peak. In 1954, I faced a real security hearing conducted by the US government. Accusations circulated, accusing me of communist sympathies and suspicious behavior. Despite a lifetime of service to my country, I saw my security clearances revoked, which abruptly ended my influence in nuclear affairs. This period was particularly painful, marked by a sense of injustice and betrayal. Yet I continued to defend my beliefs while remaining in the academic field. My public disgrace marked a turning point, but it did not erase the importance of my work, nor the crucial debates I had sparked about scientific ethics and the political responsibility of scientists. After the events of 1954, my career took a new direction. Even though I lost access to government circles, I continued to teach and reflect on the moral and philosophical implications of science. In the years that followed, I was partially rehabilitated. In 1963, President Lyndon B. Johnson awarded me the Atomic Energy Commission's Medal of Honor, officially recognizing my scientific contributions. I spent my final years reflecting on what it meant to be a scientist in a world where knowledge could serve both progress and destruction. I died on February 18, 1967, from complications related to throat cancer. My story is one of a man caught between the pursuit of knowledge and the unforeseen consequences of his discoveries. In the decades that followed, debate over scientists' responsibility, their ethics, and the dangers of the nuclear arms race intensified. I remain a complex figure, both the father of the atomic bomb and a man who warned of the peril it represented. My legacy continues to inspire reflection on science, politics, and human conscience. If you enjoyed my story, subscribe and discover many other historical figures.